Welcome back to Hot Girls Eat Carbs. I'm your host, Brittany McChrystal, and I am so glad you're here. Whether you're walking, cleaning your kitchen, or just lying in your bed scrolling, this is your cozy corner of the internet where we chat all things health, wellness, and building a life that actually feels aligned with you. Now, if you do like this episode or you have been following the podcast for a while and you haven't liked the show, please, if you could do that for me, it would be absolutely amazing. You have no idea how much it helps me reach new viewers that may want to see this show too. I always feel like I start these episodes by saying, it's been such a busy week, but honestly, it really has. Sometimes I have to pinch myself because it feels like I'm living a dream. And I don't say that to brag or make anyone feel bad. I say it because I'm so grateful for the life that I've created and because it ties perfectly into what I wanted to talk about today. Because right now I just feel so aligned with myself, like I'm really living in my full potential. And it's such a powerful feeling. And the thing is, this didn't just happen. It actually came from choosing to step outside of my comfort zone over and over again. And that is exactly what I wanted to chat to you about today. Pushing yourself to try new things, especially in your 20s when you don't have all of the commitments weighing you down yet. Because one day you'll look back, the only regret that you'll have is not doing the thing when you had the chance. I always knew that I wanted to live abroad. Even back in school, I pictured myself moving away and experiencing something new. But for so long, it just felt impossible. I had jobs that tied me down. I had relationships where my partner didn't want to move. And I let those things hold me back. And I remember sitting there thinking, I want this so badly, but I can't have it right now. And when the opportunity finally came, I promised myself that I wouldn't let it slip by. And I just went for it. And yes, it was scary. I had no clear plan and I had no idea how it would work at all. But the funny thing is about leaping into the unknown. Once you're out there, the doors just open and everybody is figuring it out. And you realize that you can too. Even Josh, when he moved here for fighting, he had to work out how to build an income. And just through being here, meeting people and being open to the opportunities just showed up. And that's what happens when you take the leap. So this past week was just such a reminder of that. My mum left after being here with me. My friends are back home and I'm coming down from the high of the most amazing birthday week. We finally ticked off something I've been wanting to do on my bucket list here, which has been on my bucket list for 2 years, which was visiting Anthong National Park. It's about an hour out of Samui, and it was honestly the most beautiful day. We climbed to the top of the mountain, and let me tell you, those stairs, oh my goodness, I thought I was going to have a mini heart attack. But the view from the top was absolutely worth it. It made me think that that's just life. You know, you push through the hard, uncomfortable climb, and when you get to the top, you realize how much sweeter the view is because of the struggle it took to get there. And I'll be real with you, I've got something on my mind right now. Some huge life changes are coming, and it's scary, and it's completely out of my comfort zone. I'm not quite ready to share all the details yet, but just know it's big, and it ties right into what we're talking about today. So stay tuned because I will hopefully be sharing more soon. Anyway, I'm already going on a tangent, so let's dive into today's episode. It's all about making the most of your 20s and doing the things that scare you and building a life that really truly does feel like yours. Let me tell you, your 20s are wild. They can feel messy, uncertain, and overwhelming. It's this strange decade where you're told that you should have it all figured out. The career, the relationship, the perfect apartment, the savings account. But honestly, I personally don't think that's what your 20s are for. They are for saying yes to when it scares you. They're for living in the moment, making mistakes, learning, and discovering who you actually are when nobody else is deciding for you. They're about giving yourself the permission to try different things and to fall flat on your face, to change your mind, and to grow in ways that you couldn't if you always played it safe. And for me, personally, that looked like moving countries. Not just once, but multiple times. I left New Zealand, the only place I had ever really known, and landed in Sydney in probably about 4 years ago now. And I didn't have a 5-year plan or some neat little blueprint of how my life was supposed to unfold. I just had this feeling that I wanted more for myself. And those 2 years in Sydney, they shaped me in ways that I'll never forget. It's where I learned how to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to figure things out safely without the net of my family right around the corner. It's where I built friendships that carried me through both the highs and the lonely moments. And it's where I started saying yes to opportunities, even when they made me feel nervous. Sydney was where I cracked open the bubble that I'd been living in. It showed me that life is so much bigger than I thought it was, and that I was capable of so much more than I gave myself credit for. And Sydney was just a turning point for me, where I really learned how to be independent, and I wasn't just figuring out how to pay rent and buy groceries. I was figuring out who I was when I wasn't leaning on the safety net of being in my home country. There was still something missing. I felt that pull still. And it was the fact that I had always loved traveling. I had always wanted to live abroad, but I wanted to live somewhere different. And so there was a little voice that said, okay, now it's time for the next thing. And literally on a complete whim, I packed up and I moved to Thailand. No big plan, no little life timeline to follow, just me, a suitcase, and this gut feeling that I had to give it a go. And was I scared? Absolutely. Did I know if it was the right choice? Not at all. But I've learned that the best things in life can never come from wrapped up in certainty. They come from when you're willing to back yourself, even when the outcome isn't clear. Now, moving to Thailand forced me to figure things out all over again. I had to make my digital nomad lifestyle work in real time. No backup plan, no guarantees. I had to build routines from scratch, get creative with my income, and trust myself in a way that I had never before. And guys, I knew nobody in Thailand. It was just me. And through all of that, the magic happened. I met some of my best friends in the world. I had nights of laughter that still make me smile when I think about them. Adventures that only happen when you're open to saying yes, and experiences I never could have had if I had chosen to stay safe. The kind of memories you know that you'll carry with you forever. I met my boyfriend, I met my best friend Hannah, and all of these amazing relationships that I've made over here. And looking back, in my whole entire life, every single time I've chosen the scarier option, the one thing that stretched me, the one thing that made my stomach flip, it's ended up being the thing that grew me the most. And it's never been the easy choices that shaped me. It's always been the leaps. The friendships I hold closest, the confidence I've built in myself, the resilience I rely on. None of that came from staying comfortable. It came from saying yes for when I wasn't ready, from showing up in places where I felt out of my depth, for giving myself the chance to prove that I could handle more than I thought. And those moments, they never felt glamorous when you're in them. They feel messy, uncertain, and uncomfortable. Your stomach is in knots, and your mind is full of doubts, and you're questioning whether you can actually pull it off. But then you do. And that's where the transformation happens. That's where you start to realize that fear isn't a stop sign. It's just a signal that you're stepping into something bigger than when you've been. And that's what I want you to remember about your 20s. They're not meant to be perfectly planned out. They're not about ticking all the life boxes, the house, the partner, the stable career path. They're about making memories that will still make you smile 10 years later. They're about putting yourself in rooms you never thought you'd belong in, chasing experiences you'll never forget, and learning who you are through every high and every low. Your 20s are for becoming, not for being perfect. They're for giving yourself permission to grow, to explore, to get it wrong sometimes, and to collect the kind of stories that one day you'll look back on and think, I am so glad that I was brave enough to do that. So let's talk about what it really looks like to take the leap. Whether that's moving countries, starting a new job, or leaving a relationship that doesn't feel right anymore. Or even something smaller like joining a gym class when you don't know anyone. It doesn't matter what the thing is. The feeling are the same. So here are a few tips that help me whenever I've stepped into something that scares me. Number 1, don't wait to feel ready. This one is huge. So we often tell ourselves, I'll do it when I feel more confident, or I'll start when I've got everything figured out. But the truth is, that feeling of being ready never arrives. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you build. Every single time I've moved countries, started something new, or pushed myself out of my comfort zone, I didn't feel ready. I was nervous, doubtful, and a little bit terrified. But taking the action itself, sending the message, booking the flight, walking into the gym, that's what created the confidence. The only way to feel ready is to actually do the thing. Break it up into baby steps. Big changes can feel overwhelming if you look at them as one giant leap. Instead, break it down into the smallest, most doable action you can take today. If moving cities feels scary, Maybe your first step is just researching apartments or joining a Facebook group for locals. If it's a new job, start by refreshing your resume or reaching out to a person on LinkedIn. These tiny steps might not feel like much in the moment, but they stack up. And the momentum of taking one small action builds the courage to take the next. Back yourself when doubt creeps in. Fear will always find a way to talk you out of your dreams. It'll whisper things like, "You're not good enough," or "What if you fail?" But here's a better question. What if it works out better than I imagined? That's the mindset shift. When you start doubting yourself, speak to yourself in the way that you would your best friend, with encouragement, belief, and kindness. You wouldn't tell your best friend she can't do it, right? So why would you talk to yourself that way? Find support, but don't depend on approval. It's so important to have people in your corner, friends, mentors, coaches, who can cheer you on and remind you why you started. But equally, you can't rely on everyone's approval to move forward. Some people won't understand your choices. They might question you, or even project their own fears onto you. That doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. At the end of the day, you're the one who has to live your life. And sometimes being brave means disappointing others so you can stay true to yourself. Focus on the story, not just the outcome. We put so much pressure on ourselves for everything to work out perfectly. But honestly, the outcome isn't always the most important part. Even if something doesn't go the way you pictured, you'll gain a story, a lesson, or a memory that shapes you. And it's definitely better than living with regret or never trying. Some of the most meaningful parts of my life came from things that didn't go perfectly. They taught me resilience, gave me adventures, and showed me what I was capable of. At the end of the day, doing the scary thing doesn't mean the fear disappears. It means that you decide that your dreams are more important than your doubts. And you'll carry the fear with you, but you'll keep moving anyway. And that is where the real magic happens. In those moments where you look back and think, wow, I can't believe I actually did that. So here's the thing. Your 20s are not about waiting until you've got the perfect roadmap, the dream job, the savings account, the ideal partner, the apartment with the big windows and matching furniture. Those things will come in time, but they're not the point right now. Your 20s are about becoming, are about saying yes to things that scare you, about leaning into experiences that make your stomach drop because you know deep down that they're going to grow you. They're about learning how to back yourself when no one else really understands what you're doing. They're about collecting the memories, the lessons, the nights of laughter, the friendships, and the moments that are going to shape you into who you're meant to be. The truth is, the fear never really goes away. People often think that one day they'll wake up confident, ready, and certain, but that's not how it works. You don't wake up fearless. You decide to move forward even when your hands are shaking. You feel the fear, but you choose to keep going anyway. And every time you do that, you prove to yourself that you're capable of so much more than you thought. That is how you build resilience, and that is how you build self-belief. Think about the things in your life right now that scare you. Maybe it's moving to a new city or finally launching that side hustle you've been dreaming of. Maybe it's leaving a relationship that no longer feels aligned or walking into a gym where you don't know a single person. Whatever it is, ask yourself this. What's really scarier? Doing the thing and maybe stumbling a little along the way, or staying stuck in the same place and wondering what if? Because the part that nobody ever tells you, you'll never regret trying, even if it doesn't work out exactly how you imagined. You'll walk away with lessons, with stories, with growth. The only thing you'll ever regret is letting the fear keep you standing still. When I look back on my own life, leaving New Zealand, building a new life in Sydney, then packing up on a whim and moving to Thailand, none of those decisions made sense on paper. They were messy, uncertain, and definitely not a neat little 5-year plan. But they were the exact moments that shaped me. They are the reason I am who I am today. And that's what your 20s are for. Not to look perfect, not to please everyone else, but to give yourself permission to create a life that you'll look back on with gratitude and say, I am so glad I was brave enough to do that. So if you're listening to this right now, take this as your sign. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to have the perfect plan. All you need is the courage to take one step. Just one. Book the ticket, sign up for the course, apply for the job, say yes to the invite. Start the thing you can't stop thinking about. Because once you start, the next step always becomes clear. And one day, your future self is going to look back at you in this exact moment and be so damn proud that you stopped waiting and started living. Because this decade, your 20s, is not about the checklist. It's about the becoming. And you, babe, are becoming somebody unstoppable. So if there is one thing I want you to take away from this episode, it's your 20s are not for playing small, waiting until you feel ready, or trying to tick every box on some imaginary timeline. They are for living, for saying yes to things that make you nervous, for collecting the stories, the friendships, and the moments that shape who you are becoming. Fear will always be there, but courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to move forward with it anyway. And I promise, every time you do, you will thank yourself later. So here is a little challenge for you this week. I want you to pick one thing, just one, that's been sitting in the back of your mind, something you've wanted to do, but you've been too scared to start. And I want you to take that first step forward. Send the email, book the ticket, join the class, have the conversation, just one step. And when you do, tell me about it. Share this episode on your story, tag me, and let me know what leap you're taking. Send me a DM. I'd love to chat to you about it because you're not doing this alone. We're in this together, and I am cheering for you every step of the way. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's just Brittany McCrystal. I will leave the link below, and you can always reach out. My DMs are always open for you. And if you want more guidance, more support, and more tools to help you step into the life you've been dreaming of, come and work one-on-one with me. This is exactly where I help my girls with building confidence, creating balance, and taking the scary leaps that change everything. Just flick me a DM on Instagram if you are interested, and we'll chat about it and how we can make that happen for you. Because your life doesn't change when everything feels safe. It changes in the moment you decide to be brave. And I know that you're ready.